everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Social Angle podcast. It's your girl, Melissa, and I'm so excited that you're here. So, this week we talk LinkedIn marketing, best practices, tactics and strategy, and social selling with Jay Bissell and Jessica Gibbons Rock. They're the managing partners for FlexPoint Social Selling, and I am so excited to get into their new business venture, share with you the do's and don'ts that they recommend for creating a stellar profile on LinkedIn, and how you can leverage LinkedIn as a promotional products professional by discovering and promoting your why. So let's get into this episode with Jay and Jess. Jay and Jess, yay! You guys are here. I'm so excited.
We are too. I can't speak for Jessica, but I am fired up.
Well, we just got off of all the amazing ASI time actually hanging out together. So this is just
I know, it's like a reunion. This is the reunion tour right here.
I know. I was so excited. I was like, I gotta meet Jess and Jay. I gotta meet Jess and Jay in person. And I got like my hugs. I got to like hang with you guys, and it was just a really good time. So I'm excited to get back into questions about LinkedIn marketing, and then also to learn about FlexPoint, which was really exciting to hear about when I met you guys in person. But for people in our industry who may not be familiar with you two, I wanted to just give you guys the floor to tell me a little bit about yourselves, who you are, and what you do.
Perfect. Well, ladies first.
I think Jay needs to help me with my promo commercial. We were talking about that earlier. So Jessica Gibbons Roush, I've seen in a lot of places. So we got Promo Kitchen. I'll be putting my FlexPoint hat on today, but you can also see me in Trend Dependent. Three Ginkgos and Trend on Brand is my own brand. So I'm an industry misfit. I've been in the industry for over 15 years, and I can't get away. I love these people.
That's awesome. So cool.
Yes, it is cool. She is cool. I'm lucky to be able to have a partner with FlexPoint in Jessica Gibbons Roush, or JGR, as I like to say. Well, folks know me sometimes. Most people, just remember me from whenever I was at the first ASI show, and I've been doing education and training for ASI forever. And it's been a blessing in my life. It's been an opportunity I look forward to every year. Yeah. So I've been around the block more times than I want to admit, to be honest, but as a promotional product distributor, as an apparel decorator, as a business owner, I've worked for supplier partners and industry folks that people will remember, but most excitingly right now, I have projects with Equipment Zone and FlexPoint are the two things that I'm most engaged on. So if you need to know more about DTG, or digital direct to garment printing, I'm that guy. And I do a lot of marketing for Equipment Zone, but I'm also excited about this new project with FlexPoint with Jessica.
I'm like so hyped to get into this. I feel like you guys are so dynamic, and I love that you guys both have such diverse experience, because I think it brings a lot of value to this new joint venture. So I wanted to know, what's the origin story? Like as superheroes, like promo superheroes, what's the origin story for FlexPoint?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to let Jessica answer that question.
Lucky me. So Jay and I got connected through Promo Kitchen, which is a volunteer organization that we're both really active in. And
Promo Kitchen.
People. And what was awesome is, so we were talking about education opportunities for Promo Kitchen, and what came up was about LinkedIn profiles. And both Jay and I were like, oh my gosh, we want to do that. Even though we had never talked about doing it, we both volunteered. So it worked out. We're like, hey, well, then let's just do it together. And it was, I think in December, we did an educational seminar for Promo Kitchen based on going through your LinkedIn. And it was so much fun. We had fun planning it. We had fun doing it. And then while we were going through the process, we're like, there actually is a kind of a big need for this in the industry, and not just in the industry, but just in general. And all the feedback we got afterwards, people were like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? Can I have help? Can you help me? It's like, oh, well, maybe we could do this for real. Yeah. And that's where we started.
For real, for real.
For real.
For real.
Yes, it has been fun. It's been fun. And Jessica was right. It was really born out of the need. And I've been doing education and training, but to be able to do it for Promo Kitchen was an honor and a first time. I mean, that is one of our pillars at PK is, providing education for our industry that's, devoid of alternatives. It's just whatever we can do to lift up the industry. That's what we want to do. And we saw this as a big opportunity.
I feel like those like are the best business ideas though, the ones that you enjoy, and then it's like, you know, you have such a good time doing it, it doesn't necessarily feel like work. But I'm curious to know, as you guys develop this idea and continue to refine your audience, like, is there a specific type of customer that you're trying to serve in the promotional products industry? And you know, what type of services can they look to find with you guys for FlexPoint?
Well, it's a evolving question, right? It's an
Right.
evolving target too. So what we thought we knew has changed slightly. You know, we got this idea last December and kind of put some things together, and you know, we wanted a proof of concept. We wanted to make sure that this was something that had some structure behind it and it was
Sure.
scalable to a point, and then we'll worry about what happens later down the road. We can't control that anyway, but our ideal customer really is that business owner or that sales rep, that account executive in promo or in the apparel space. I mean, it could be anyone, but we want to define it as in those two kind of buckets, those two categories, because those are the people that we know the best, and that's where our experience comes from. So it turns out that there are a lot of folks, a lot of people in the promo and apparel space that want to increase their visibility, and they recognize that they could do better with their personal and business profile, but they're just kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that was step one. We realized there's a big need.
Right. Right. So what kind of problems, like you said, you're talking about the needs aspect, but you know, once you work with somebody, what goal are you helping them achieve? What problem are you helping them solve? Because you mentioned being stuck. And I think that that's something that we encompass a lot, like when we work with professionals that are maybe starting out on social media, or they have a social presence, but they're not consistent or active, is kind of feeling like, I know I could do better, but I have no idea where to start.
Mhm.
Well, and each of the distributors have their own kind of story too. I think I've always worked with top 40 distributors, but I think I kind of had a misconception about all of the ones that are out there. And when I started working with them, they all have their own story. They have their own niche. They have their own purpose. They have their own things that they're passionate about, things that they're interested in, but they are not sure how to communicate that, not just what to communicate. And that's where LinkedIn gets a little weird. Like, people know Instagram, I'm going to put up pictures. Facebook, I'm going to do updates. But LinkedIn is like, well, which part is professional and which part is not professional? And how do I do it and not be salesy? How do I do it and still be professional? And it's kind of a weird gray area, don't you think, Jay? Like, kind
Yeah.
of, we got to help people get to the point where they're like, okay, I feel good about my profile. I feel good about showing my profile.
Right.
And I know what I want to put up.
We find a lot of success, Melissa, when we can really peel back the layers and find the real why. Like,
Okay.
why are they doing this? And for who would they do it free? Like, I ask people all the time, if you had to go help somebody on a Saturday morning paint their house, there's probably only a few people, you know, that you would get up early for no money and go help them paint their house. So, you know, people have some of those passions. We want to find what that passion is and what that real why is, and then talk about that. And then it becomes less salesy automatically, instantly, because they're not trying to sell anybody. They're trying to, you know, highlight purposes, you know, both for personal and for business. So
Okay.
I love the fact that what we tried to like come up with something catchy, but it's like, well, what do we do? What are we actually doing? And it's like digital profile makeovers, and then content curation and assets, and then coaching. So we put those
Okay.
two things together, specific for this industry, and we use LinkedIn kind of as our hub, as our base.
Okay.
Of course, we're not saying other profiles aren't important or aren't awesome. They are. All of the social media platforms have a purpose, and some people crush it in Instagram. We would say keep doing that, but
Mhm.
don't forget this, right? It's not an either or, it's not a light switch.
I'm glad that you said that, because my next question, you kind of segued really perfectly into it, is like, why LinkedIn, right? Like, obviously there's this need, but I feel like there's just such a vast like, there's just so many different choices out there, right? And I feel like the one that everybody seems to be really focusing on is TikTok. And I feel like, you know, B2B, LinkedIn is like a gold mine. It
Mhm.
is, you know, an incredible platform. And it's not just a place to, you know, house your resume, you know what I mean, until the next time
Yes.
you want to apply for a job. So I really like that you guys are going deep into, you know, what makes somebody tick as a professional, how they can showcase that to the best of their ability to like an ideal client or maybe a strategic business partner, and also humanize themselves as a professional. So like, is there other aspects of your services that you think is really important that are helping your clientele?
Well, I think to answer shortly, we are big fans of LinkedIn because it works.
Okay.
So it's worked for me in the past in lots of different applications. So we can take that credibility of to build on what you said. Let's forget about what we thought LinkedIn was, what the purpose was. Let's flush that. It's not a resume. Let's reposition it as a resource for the clientele that we wish we could, have. So if you created, Jessica or Melissa, if you created a Dream 100 list, I wish I had these top 100 clients. How could I position my profile that would be easily read by, easily connected with, easily the engagement would be natural. And so those are some of the things that we think of because it's still such an effective B2B platform. It's where business networking happens, period, end of story. And so many people are kind of still confused, still unsure. They feel like what Jessica said, how personal should I be? And then they put on their professional radio where it's like, no, be the real you. If you're a little chaotic and messy like this guy, then just let that shine, because guess what? I'm going to attract people that no one else would. And that's my unique advantage. So I want to play that card, and I want to be able to say, this is who I am. This is why these things are important to me. These are my purposes. And if I live in the promo and apparel space, I want to be able to maximize the right tools and then build on that so my network grows, so that my engagement is authentic, and so that I can have a leverage of the knowledge that I do have, if that makes sense.
100%. And I'm really glad that you guys are playing up the social selling point, because I feel like that is a term that I don't think gets used enough in like our industry, especially when it comes to social media, because I feel like it's such like a more digestible way to think about sales on social. Because I feel like whenever you talk social media and sales together, not even necessarily hard selling, I think people feel guilty because they think, this is maybe top of the funnel activities where it's more about like awareness or, mid-level engagement. But it's like, these things lead, in my personal opinion and professional experience, to sales. Like, you're building that authority, that credibility, that trust. And then also like that personal aspect, like people want to do business with people they feel comfortable with,
100%.
who they feel like they have, so I feel like that is such a hat trick for people on social. So like you guys are both experts, and I feel like, again, like for FlexPoint, playing that up, how important, and having somebody to guide professionals to do this in our industry is so awesome. So that being said, like, what are some common mistakes that you have seen in consulting with your clients that they've made with social selling on LinkedIn?
Well, I think a lot of these things are that we all kind of experience. So thinking that you're going to find instant success. This is a general marketing issue. Marketing is a long game. We all know this. It's, the only way that you can get a quick sale is if you're like, hi, it's 50% off. Here's your promo code. That's not what it is. It's about building relationships. And it's no different than traditional building relationships. It's just a different platform. Like one thing, I think it was last week, I actually was able to judge the digital selling finals for a graduate program at Northern Illinois University, where they're teaching students how to do this. Like, this is real. It's not going away. I think anytime somebody connects and they don't share a personal note, that's one of, like, how sometimes LinkedIn kind of feels a little spammy, and that's, I think, why people take a step back and they don't want to jump in. And I actually had this happen. Somebody LinkedIn with me about the same time I was at ASI Chicago. I'm like, all right, I'm going to forgive people. I'll connect with them even if they didn't say what they were for. Instantly, I got a sales pitch. They didn't ask anything about me. They clearly didn't know anything about me. I unconnected. I'm like, no, I'm good. I got enough people who do graphic design in my world. I don't need another one. But that, you have to have that kind of personal touch, because you wouldn't just walk up to somebody at a networking event and start pitching them. That's not how it works. And that's not how it should work, I should say.
How it should work. And sad that people still think that does work, because it doesn't work. Who are these people that continue to go down that spam drain, and they immediately send you a connection? And LinkedIn's gotten a bad rap, a bad reputation in the last 18 months, because a lot of smart technologists in Ukraine and other places were able to, create these software bots that were just pinging people 100 a day and trying to get these connections, and then this drip 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 campaign that was all automated. And it's like, who likes that? I mean, seriously, stop and ask yourself, do I respond well to that? And the answer is always no. I can't stand it. So why would you deploy that kind of a trick? And I think it is a trick. And there aren't tricks don't work in marketing. The only thing that works in marketing is trust. And kids, you can write that down. So, and I don't mean to sound condescending or talk down to anybody. I'm just saying I've learned this the hard way, right? It's like there are no shortcuts, there are no tricks. Let's play to our strengths. One thing that drove me crazy at the beginning of the pandemic was to see a lot of, I love all of our suppliers, but some of them didn't know what to do. And so they kind of fell back on what they always did. And it seemed like we've got a stream of more sales flyers. No more sales flyers. I mean, if I could ban one thing, it would be no sales flyers on LinkedIn.
That's fun.
And I have an easy way to say that. Stop sharing crap for content. So there, I said it. It was a little bold, I know, Melissa, but
I appreciate it. There's so many quotable moments, like so many gems from both you. But I mean, going back to what Jessica said though earlier, like, and to kind of drive the point home, it's like that person probably meant that connection and message, like that kind of like spam, cold direct message, probably so innocently. But just think of that, like the people that you have the ability to serve and eventually like nurture a relationship with and convert and close and retain as a client gets smaller and smaller when you pull shit like that, because that's one less person, because you're literally just like, all right, I'm gonna remove this connection and then not really give you the time of day moving forward, because that first initial impression was like, for lack of a better way of saying it, so shitty. And I feel like, again, like going back to what you guys were both saying, is on that platform, like people have such a hard time with navigating sales, where it's like, it's cool that you guys are, again, just providing some structure and some guidance for people to be themselves and sell holistically, and also nurture, like connections that feel authentic, because that's what people want, So
agreed.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask as well, because I know you got, like, you crushed it. There's people that were quoting you in the halls at ASI Chicago. I saw y'all stickers all over the place. It was just
stickers.
like,
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You got some stickers?
We believe in our product. I have this lovely DTG t-shirt that Jay was so kind as to make for me, so that I had it at the show. What was you put on today? Tell you're in promo without saying you're in promo. I was gauging my branding for this video.
Look,
I
to
love it.
quote my dear friend Charity Gibson, you got to use promo to sell promo. So if we're not going to take our own foundation of knowledge and use that and share some of that and leverage it, then what the hell's wrong with us, right? So we have to.
Right.
It's in our DNA, by the way. There's no turning back from it. So, well, that was very kind of you to say, by the way. I don't know if people were quoting us in the halls at all, but okay, I'll
They
take that.
100% were. Like, I was going to the ladies' room and I walked past a couple of sales reps from the Vernon group, and they were like, Jay's session and what he said about LinkedIn. I was like, this is so cool. And then people were like comparing the stickers they got, and I was like, this is such a neat, like, this fun energy. I was like, I love this so much. So like, you had quite a few sessions for us, and I mean, they were packed, super packed. So what are some of the key takeaways that you think your audience of attendees came away with from your sessions? Is there anything you'd like to like drive home or mention again?
Well, and here's the quick moment where we're saying that if you attended the session and you learned very important things and you haven't done any of them, go do something.
Yes.
Poor Jay's on mute.
100%. No, sorry. As classic. I mean, I haven't seen my lawn guys in 2 weeks because of all the rain. And of course, the minute we start, the lawnmowers kick up, the dogs are in the back barking. So
that's
right. This is how things are right now. My whole family is pregnant. I've already heard the door shut a couple times.
I know.
I'm surprised
so
my dog
me,
is so calm.
Well, he's a puppy and he's sleeping it off when they sleep like that all day long. But
I know. I want
but back
his
to your
life.
point about, oh, well, so who doesn't? ASI show in Chicago, Jessica and I were talking about this. It was talk about a shot in the arm. We needed that. We needed that energy. We needed that boost. We needed those connections and those engagements. So my tip my cap literally and figuratively to ASI, because amazing, amazing, and top to bottom, everybody that was involved in pulling that off deserves a huge round of applause. We had amazing turnout, so let's give the credit where the credit is due. I'm not in control of that. I might have a catchy title or look like some, learner outcomes and takeaways might be juicy, but the people who showed up in ASI creating the event, that's where the success happened. So we had
And those people were
room.
they were engaged,
Yeah.
they were participating, they were taking, like, there was nobody just showing up like because they didn't want to go to the office that day. That was definitely not it. The energy was infectious. It was there. It was amazing.
It was a lot of fun. And so, not to get too far out on a limb, but honestly, the folks that were there that got engaged, that their takeaways were things like, remember that LinkedIn, we've already said it, but it's not a resume, it's a resource. And to what degree are you leveraging that resource? So if you still have this old notion, this old outdated thinking that it's a resume, and it's time to ditch that. Let's update everything. Let's start over if you want to. And I think there are a lot of people that realize that, in under an hour, they could easily complete and or update their profile. It's not something that's going to take, weeks to do. And there were people in the session, this was the best part. I had people come up to me when I was done and say, man, I'm so glad I listened to you, because I was literally updating during the class. And I was like, good on you, bro. That is so awesome.
That's awesome.
And there's parts of it that are hard. That's part of why we're doing what we're doing. I had to have Jay sit with me to do my about section because you're talking about yourself. It's weird. Like, it's awkward. It's, you kind of need that coaching to be like, okay, so let's talk about what you do and let's figure out how to make this story sound good. So thank you, Jay, for helping me.
You're welcome. We all need that help. And you're right. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for Jessica. And sometimes it's great to partner up with somebody that you trust. And this is one of the questions that we ask when we're helping people, when we're kind of really digging down and trying to get down to the real reality of what makes a person tick is their why are they doing this in the first place, which is a tough question to answer. But the other thing is to take away is, what would your best friend say about you? Like sometimes it's like, I want my audience, the people that I'm building my business with, my empire, I want them to be my friends, right? So why wouldn't I want my next prospect that I can help convert? We should also have not just a working relationship, but a true friendship. And I think maybe people are learning that through the pandemic, that you can have those types of tight friendships and still do business. It doesn't always work out, and I get that, but I just think it's not too late. And I want to make sure that people can understand that whether you attended the ASI show Chicago or whether you're listening to this amazing podcast today, there's some takeaways. Do something. Like Jessica said, it's not that hard. And if you stumble, you need help, guess what? Now there's somebody that can help you.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I love that you guys said that, because sometimes, like you said, you just need to have that person that you can bounce ideas off of and get some perspective. And, when there's something that you don't know, can provide that guidance. So I'm particularly excited because I know you guys are going to bring up my LinkedIn profile. So I'm excited to go all in and hear what you guys have to say, so I can update mine and make sure mine is chef's kiss, amazing. For people who want to come and find me on LinkedIn.
Okay, well, you've got your seatbelt on and you brought your helmet, right, Melissa?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Well, we'll give the control to Jessica. She's going to drive. So.
I'm going to click the button.
Cool. Let's do this.
Here we go.
Sorry, I have 3 screens, so I have to make sure I've got the right one going. I don't know how people work on one screen anymore. It's just it would drive me crazy. So we can see Melissa, right?
This amazing person, Melissa Newman.
Oh, well, thank you.
And we're really liked your profile. Just to start off, you are not doing anything wrong. We're not here to pick you apart or anything like that. Let's just jump right into it. So from the top, I love your profile picture. I like that the background is not too busy. It's far enough away. I see the computer and I know digital is your thing. So it just reinforces that. Plus you, of course, are a beautiful person. And I love that picture.
Oh, thank you.
And I like that you have the banner. I love the Be an Ally. And that's, is that a default one that's available with LinkedIn?
Yeah, because I had an older one and I just felt like it was too promotional. Like I felt it was
Gotcha.
too salesy. So I, was curious to see, and this was for Pride Month. I kept it up because I do consider myself an ally, and that is important for me as a professional, is like to make sure if companies or other professionals are seeking me out, they know that that's what I stand for and that's what I believe in. So
Ding, ding,
That's
ding. That's
amazing. Exactly.
exactly. You nailed it. That's
Right.
exactly what we talk about.
And when you're thinking of the way that you're viewing this, if you're viewing on a desktop versus the phone, if I see nothing else, I say, okay, there's Melissa. She has a computer. She likes digital. She's an ally. Okay, I feel like I have something in common with her, like
cool.
right off the bat. And these are things that you can change. I try to change my profile picture every time I change my hair. So it's not like you have to live with the same thing for 10 years. In fact, please don't.
Yeah,
Change these
like
things up a
the
little bit.
people who
Yeah,
have like
right.
their college profile picture and they're like in their 40s, and you're like, bro, don't put that up there.
Right. We want to see who you really are, not just make sure that it's updated.
Yeah, I
Right.
would say anything within 3 years is probably still acceptable, but you start
Right.
moving past that 5-year, 10-year mark, and you're like, whoa, that was like. Anyway, we've had some really funny discussions, mostly with women. They're a little bit more concerned about this than men. Not sure why, but it's something to be aware of. Like, don't have that super crazy
Mhm.
busy background.
Nope.
Don't make it obviously like you were cutting out your previous partner, and there's like this tear mark, and you're like from a wedding that you went to, and
There's
I've
like
seen.
a hand on the shoulder, but like from the other side.
Yes, there's just a hand.
Right.
Yeah, it's like,
But it also doesn't have to be a headshot. It doesn't have to be like I went to Olin Mills and got a picture taken. My personal profile, the hairstylist who did my hair took it outside of her salon. I was wearing an American Apparel t-shirt, like this was not planned at all. And I still loved the way it was, so I used it. There's no reason, you don't have to overthink it.
You like look like a model, like the hair, like I was like,
I've never been able to get it to look that good ever since she did an amazing job. But I digress.
And another shout out to ASI, because you guys have been providing this as a service on the trade show floors where people can come down and actually get a professional shot. So another benefit of getting some LinkedIn training and then going to the training of taking that training onto the trade show floor and getting a profile shot that's going to be well lit and look good. But people overthink it and they overcomplicate it. If you have a teenager or somebody that's in their 20s, they could probably take a really good picture of you.
Yep.
Just don't have a busy background, and something is better than nothing. I'm not a fan of logos for your personal profile, by the way. So if you're that person and thinks it's okay to have your business logo in there, I would say nope. And also the cartoon avatars are not funny anymore. So let's go with real shots. We want to connect with the real you, not the cartoon you.
Can I ask one more thing before we move on to the next? And I wanted to know, because I have seen this trend, which like to me it's very bizarre, but it's like an action shot. Like I've seen people who like it's clearly a shot where they've like done one of those extreme stunts where they've jumped out of a plane, like, and I would think it would be like an outlier. I've seen so many profile, and I don't know if it's just the people, like I follow a lot of entrepreneurs in the Philly tech scene, so I feel like, again, it's a little shot of personality, but like for a shot like that, that's more personal and niche, would you recommend that, or do you think it's distracting from the profile?
I do. I think it's distracting. I think it's trying to show like one up, like I'm trying to show how cool I am, or look at me kite surfing or jumping, base jumping, or listen, people want to connect with a happy person. That's it. So if you're just the happiest natural you, that's what we want to see is a headshot of
I
you.
would slightly disagree with Jay on this one.
Oh,
I know. I'm getting...
Jay said, "Oh,
whoa!" I'm listening.
I would say that there are people that can pull that off, and that's part of their brand, and that's part of their story. And if it is part of your story, then absolutely you can put that in there if it makes sense. It's kind of like emojis. We have some people who use emojis who I have to say really can't pull it off, but then you have people who can. Like Jeremy Pickard has a little lightning bolt. Freaking love it. I always use the boxing emoji, but I can't pull that off in my profile. So I would always say that it depends on what your story is and what you're trying to say. I'm also not a big fan of the family pictures where you have multiple people in it. It needs to be more of who you are. And there's always little things too, like if you wear glasses every day, you should have glasses in your shot. If you're however you normally would look. because that's come up before too. But yeah, I would disagree with Jay on this one if it relates to the story you're trying to tell.
Okay, and you're still able to identify the person, and it's not like, you falling out of the plane and like the back of your head or some, thing like that. It's more of if it fits with your personal brand and you're identifiable. Okay, cool. Awesome.
I think it was Nick Latour. I don't know if I said his name right, but he had the one where he was like a superhero and he had his wig on and everything. Like, that's part of his brand. It's totally cool.
Yeah,
I think he changed it since then, but when he did.
And it's okay that you can disagree with me, because I think your point is super well made. Is that there are going to be exceptions to every rule.
Right.
Good point.
So the next part that I'd highlight is your headline, where it has social media, podcasting, and content creation. I really like that this is not your title. I think that's where a trap that we all kind of fall into, where we automatically make it the title of our job, which is a direction you can go. But being able to read this, I can, again, very easily see on my phone, because we know where people are really looking at things. I know what you're about. This is an area that you could expand. You have some more characters to work with here if you wanted to make more of a story. I know a lot of what we talk to our clients about is saying, I do this for people like you, or I do this for people like this, where you're kind of giving a full comprehensive, like what you're doing for what your audience is.
Okay.
One of the things that helps there too, Melissa, if I could just add a little thing before I know our time's about to run out, but to say, you also want to attract the right people. So by saying something, you don't want the wrong audience to catch the wrong message and then be wasting your time. So be clear about who that, leave some clues as to who you really want to connect with.
Okay.
The next section we wanted to hit was your featured. Melissa, you're a cool person and you've done a lot of cool things. Your featured section needs to be updated.
Really cool. Really cool.
I mean, said with love, but you were on Podcast for Common SKU. Jay said you just won an award for the Home in the Wild.
Don't act like I didn't know that you just won an award, because I'm friends with a couple of your, superiors. That's a big effing deal. You need to be bragging about that professionally.
Oh, thank you.
If you won an award for Promo in the Wild, first of all, it's on point, on message, and on branding for what you do. And second of all, it's a big ass deal. So those are the things you want to put in your featured section. It's social proof that you're the rock star that we know you are.
Oh, well, thank you.
I like to think of it as seen on. This is your section, because you can link to outside places here, and that's the only place you really can. So think of it as seen on, and then you're promoting your friends who are promoting you. So it's all like for the greater good.
Nice.
And then your about section, this is where you're falling into the resume trap, and we're going to keep you forever. So we need to talk more about your story, where you're coming from, what your influences are. But this is the area where you can really explain why would people want to be friends with you.
Okay.
So this is a great section to really expand on that.
Okay. Can I ask you a quick question before, is that okay?
Yeah.
So for about this, now I've seen like different, like when it comes to length, because I think this is another thing that people trip up on, is they're like, am I writing a full page? Am I doing like 250 characters, just like I kind of a more extended title? You know what I mean? Like, hey, I gave a one sentence, almost like I would do in an Instagram bio about like who I am, the audience I serve, what I do for them. But then maybe I'm adding a couple more sentences about that. So like, is there an ideal length that you think is appropriate for an about?
I'm going to hit here again with it depends.
No, this is a good question.
Classic MBA answer right there.
As soon as you have your MBA, everything is it depends. But we've talked to some people where like their style is bullet points. So they put bullet points in here. Some of them, their style, their background is in journalism. They're going to write more about it. It depends on what you're trying to say and to whom you're trying to say it. And that's where you there is no exact formula to it.
Okay.
But I think one thing to be consistent with is to think about it from the perspective of, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, we're hoping that the caught your eye and stopped the scroll, that we saw a happy picture of Melissa. We want to know who she is. Her headline hooked me. There's something in your headline that says, I want to know more. What's going on? And then they're going to drop down to the features for proof. And if they're really going to go deep, like they really want to know, geez, this is such a cool person, I've got to find out more, they'll read that about section. And that's where you can also drop some clues, even a few little Easter eggs, like we would say in the old days, where you could say, if you've read this far, reach out to me, and say the keyword taco, and I'll be sure to give you a half hour something. Or a promotional product, marketing message, or something that you do specific and interesting that can carry over, so that the conversation doesn't end and they have a call to action in a way that's not too silly.
I think that'll be like a good takeaway that I'll emphasize in the write-up, is like a call to action and a way for you to hook your audience to continue the conversation. Like that's really what you want that about to be, like for people to kind of like have something to walk away with. Because I think, it's hard, like you guys were saying before, to dissect your own career. And I think everybody second guesses themselves about like, is it, again, like, do I do a whole page? Do I just write a couple of sentences? Should I bullet it? And if it is something that's individualized, is like keeping that in mind, that call to action, find a way to continue the conversation, so you're not just getting that connection and then moving on to the next. So I really, really like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
So I always like to end with a fun question. And I just realized we never picked A or B in the beginning. We got to chatting about stuff and we never did. So which one do you guys want to do?
I don't know. I'll let Jessica pick.
Why don't you surprise us?
Oh, surprise. Okay. So,
surprise.
What is
we were talking.
What is your favorite vacation spot?
Oh, that's too easy for me because I'm leaving in 48 hours to go to Newport Beach, California. And I can't wait to be on the beach for 9 days. And oh, by the way, the other question was, what's your favorite food? If you could only have one food and eat it for the rest of the life.
Oh God,
I think everyone would know. Yeah, what? Come on, it's too easy for me. You can't say what one food would I eat for the rest of my life. It's and suddenly I got thirsty. So anyway, back to you, Jess.
Well, I would definitely say I'm Midwestern at heart. So my favorite food would be steak, potato, and corn on the cob, straight up every day. You gotta love. I grew up in the country, so and then favorite vacation place. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I could pick just one because I like to go as many places as I possibly can. But I would probably have to say anywhere that there is not a triathlon, and that is an inside joke. I hope my husband's not watching.
He's not.
That's so funny.
That's hilarious.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I cannot wait to share this with our audience. This is going to be so much fun. And I know we're going to get great feedback because LinkedIn is really important, and the help and guidance that you guys are providing for promotional products professionals is so needed. So thank you for being generous with your time and your expertise. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. It was our pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Take care.
All right. See ya.
Thanks.